listening to the Sportz Hive podcast.
Oh, Wade, what a play! Wow.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Sportz Hive podcast, where we provide you with all the buzz in the sports world. Today is Friday, February 7th, 2020. I am Luke Hoffman, and I'll start off joined by my guy, Coby Lynch, to talk about the recent blockbuster move in baseball. I'll then be rejoined by my co-host, Jacob Hyde, to discuss all that went down at the recently passed NBA trade deadline. Let's get into it. All right, so joining me now is my guy, Coby Lynch, a.k.a. Cobafirth, in the building. We're here to talk about this trade that went down Tuesday night after we were recording, me and Jacob, so we did not get to it last episode. I just wanted to, get your thoughts. The trade, there were two trades actually involved. The first one, the Dodgers received obviously Mookie Betts and David Price as well as cash to help pay off David Price's contract. The Red Sox received Dodgers prospect Alex Verdugo, as well as Twins pitching prospect Brusar Graterol. Is that how you pronounce it, Coby?
I believe so. I'm not too sure on that. Don't quote me on that, but Graterol.
All right.
One of the two.
And the Twins received Dodgers starting pitcher Kenta Maeda. The other transaction was the Dodgers receiving infielder from the Angels, Luis Rengifo. Is that? See, look, I'm already messing up. Is that how you pronounce that?
I would have to see it. I don't.
Well,
have
anyways,
I don't have anything pulled up.
Anyways, the Angels in the trade got outfielder Jock Peterson, and there was another player, Ross Stripling. So I just want to ask you from each team's perspective. First, starting with the Dodgers, what do you think this does for the Dodgers? I mean, obviously they're getting the AL MVP from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it does a lot for the Dodgers. I think it might be the thing that gets them over the hump and to a World Series championship. The biggest thing for me, though, in this trade was Alex Verdugo, because obviously he was one of the top prospects in the Dodgers organization. So we know Mookie's going to perform. We know David Price is going to perform. And then the Dodgers also got cash. Kenta Maeda, he's a middle rotation starter at best. I wouldn't put him at a 2 or a 1 spot, but that's going to solidify the Twins rotation. But I really think you got to look at the Red Sox in this one because they got Alex Verdugo. He had a pretty decent year, was cut short by an injury last year, so didn't get to really see his full potential. And from what I've been hearing about this kid, he's legit. So I think that the Red Sox are probably going to be the winners of this, but as of right now, the clear winners of this, way ahead of the pack, are the Dodgers.
Yeah, I really like, obviously it's going to be tough in the NL winning against the Dodgers with all the talent, especially in that outfield with Bellinger and Betts. I also like the Angels coming up with Jock Peterson and Ross Stripling. They obviously got one of the biggest acquisitions with Anthony Rendon, and I think obviously adding to Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, I think they have a really talented team coming up this year.
Yeah, the Angels are going to be a dark horse in the American League. I mean, I haven't seen anything about too early power rankings, but I definitely give them at least a wild card in the AL. If not, I think they can beat the Astros to win the AL West, especially with how the Astros clubhouse morale, I think it's going to be shot this year. It's going to be all sorts of out of whack. What better time to strike it for the Angels than now?
Yeah, I think it would be fun if it was a LA World Series Dodgers-Angels.
That would be fun, but personally speaking, as a Brewers fan, I don't want to
we don't want to see no Dodgers in there.
Yeah, no Dodgers.
But if it came down to that, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to drive too far either just to get from one place to the other.
There's the Mets World Series or Mets-Yankees World Series back in the day.
Yeah. I think it would be a good thing to see. I mean, it definitely do a lot for California, already a big tourist state. And I think it'd bring in a lot more tourism. And I also think it would do a lot for the sport of baseball. Obviously, Luke, you know me. Big baseball guy. I play college baseball. Uh, I just want to see the sport grow. I want the best for the sport. This has been my deal since I could pretty much walk. And it's I saw an article the other day about Christian Yelich wanting to be noticed like NFL superstars or NBA superstars because MLB superstars don't get that type of recognition. Like you can walk down the street and ask anybody who LeBron James is, and they'll 9 times out of 10 tell you, "Oh, he's a really good basketball player, ain't he?" You go down the street and ask somebody who's Mookie Betts or
Mike
who's
Trout.
Mike Trout. Yeah, Bryce Harper might be the only one just because he's the only like marketable guy. I would say Mike Trout, obviously a little bit harder just because the guy is super humble. Like he's not going to put himself out there. Yeah, he has his own signature shoe, but I think Bryce Harper is a lot more marketable than him. But if you ask anybody who,
I think the most
like,
marketable player right now might be Aaron Judge, though.
oh yeah, 100%. Just because of his overall athleticism, the guy's size, he looks like he could, play in the NBA or be a tight end in the NFL. So I mean. Well, we'll just have to see what it does if it does come true. Which I mean, the Angels are a good team. I'll be keeping an eye out for them. Uh, I also kind of want to keep an eye out for the Twins, just because that Josh Donaldson acquisition. He's one of my favorite third basemen of all time. I would say he's probably in the top 10 of that. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, especially considering his career, had a little plateau, but I think he's in a resurgence, especially after last year with Atlanta. But I think the Twins could be a team to watch now, especially with that rotation, Rich Hill, Michael Pineda, now Kenta Maeda, like I said earlier, he's a middle of the line starter, maybe back end, day 5 starter. But you're going to get some quality innings out of him. That's my point. Now, my one concern with the Twins might be that bullpen. I don't know much about it. I haven't seen any news on it, any moves, but I think it's going to be fun to watch the AL. I think it'd be more fun to see a Twins Angels World Series because the two biggest third basemen.
Well, that would be the ALCS, Twins Angels.
ALCS. Sorry. Yeah, that would be a fun series to see with all the, firepower you get out of Rendon and all the firepower you get out of Donaldson and some of the pitching, of course. I mean, Shohei Ohtani, one of the biggest names to come out of, out of the Pacific. Mike Trout, obviously best player in baseball. I mean, nobody's going to debate that. And then, you got a bunch of teams in the AL. I don't think it's definitive of who's going to win. The Astros probably aren't going to be banging on trash cans much longer. So, I think it's actually going to be competitive this year in the AL, especially, you also got the Yankees. I mean, the Astros are still a good contender. Let's see, I think the Red Sox can also contend. They might be a number 2 wild card. I think they sneak in the wild card. They're not the team they used to be, and obviously getting rid of Mookie and David Price is going to be a big hit to them, but I think it was necessary for them. And then, I think the AL is going to be much more fun to watch than the NL this year. And that hurts me as a Brewers fan, but I think it's the honest truth.
Yeah, and that's what I like about baseball is there's a lot more contending teams than, basketball or football. You have, in basketball this year, it's really 3-4 teams, Milwaukee and LA, both the LA teams, in football, it's a little more competitive. There's probably like 6 teams you can see winning, but in baseball, it's open every year.
Right. That's the thing with baseball. I don't remember. I think it was the Yankees back in the early 2000s. They were the last team to repeat. I'm not sure about that. I might need some fact checks on that, but I think that's the last time anybody's ever repeated. So obviously it's very hard to repeat in baseball.
It sure is. I think that's all we got for you today. Thank you for joining us.
Right,
hopefully we'll have you again.
Yeah, I'd love to come on the show.
All right.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
And now that Colby and Luke have discussed some of the major transactions in the baseball world, it is time to discuss some of the biggest deals that went down in the NBA trade deadline that passed yesterday. The first trade that we want to talk about is, I think, the biggest trade we've seen in the trade deadline this year, and that was the Warriors trading D'Angelo Russell, Jacob Evans, and Amari Spielman to the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves gave the Warriors forward Andrew Wiggins a 2021 protected first round pick and a 2022 second round pick. So, Luke, like I said, I think it was the biggest trade this year. What are your thoughts on the trade, and what do you think moving forward the two teams are going to look like?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest trade just because I don't think many of the big teams made any moves that make themselves better. Obviously, neither of these teams are competing this year, but I think it's gonna be cool. I know D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns are already really close together. I know Karl Anthony Towns was trying to get D'Angelo to Minnesota this summer, and obviously now we got him just a couple months later. I don't like this trade at all from the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins just doesn't he just doesn't fit their team in my opinion at all. They do get that 2021 first round pick. The problem with the Timberwolves on this side is that defensively, I mean, they're already bad defensively. I don't think they can get much worse. So I like it from their perspective just because I like the offensive difference between D'Angelo Russell and Andrew Wiggins. But overall, this trade, I mean, I think it's going to do a lot better for the Timberwolves than it does the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm gonna really like watching the D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns duo in Minnesota. And like you said, the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins doesn't really fit. But next year they're gonna have Steph Curry coming back and Klay Thompson, and they'll obviously have Andrew Wiggins. And into the draft they might tank for Anthony Wiseman. So you
And
never
I,
you never
and
know.
obviously I mean, this does kind of cripple their salary cap. I know him and Russell and Wiggins are similar, but I would take Russell a lot. I would definitely take Russell over Wiggins, and for the money they're making, and Andrew Wiggins is possibly one of the most overpaid players in the NBA for his skill set. So this could cripple them on the road.
Yeah, so I think the Timberwolves have won this trade. So the next trade we want to break down is between the Cavaliers and the Pistons. And the Cavaliers got Andre Drummond from the Pistons, and the Cavaliers gave up point guard Brandon Knight, John Henson, and a second round pick. So I honestly don't know why the Pistons did this. Uh, they they got nothing. They literally got nothing out of it. John Henson compared to Andre Drummond, that's just uh, not the same. And I mean, Brandon Knight in the second round pick. I mean, you said earlier to me that they basically traded Andre Drummond for 3 second round picks. So I think the Pistons were not thinking about this trade. So Luke, what are your thoughts on Andre Drummond going to Cleveland?
I mean, at first I was like, that's not anything for Andrew Drummond, but his contract is expiring after this year, and I mean, they got something for him. He either would have left or would have signed another big contract with them. So I don't know. This trade makes no sense to me for Cleveland, though. They're not contending, and they just gave away assets to for half a year of Andre Drummond for no reason. I don't get it at all. I also heard Kenny Smith on TNT tonight say this trade is the official sealer of big men in the NBA. I mean, we just seen a guy who's averaging like almost 15 or averaging over 15 rebounds a game get traded for a bag of chips or something. Like that's how you know
Yeah,
the
basically.
that's how you know like no one cares about the big man in the NBA anymore. Like I made up that trade in the last episode where it was crazy for Andre Drummond to go to the Clippers, and I thought I was crazy that for that thinking the Pistons would accept that, but then they accepted way less than that from Cleveland. I honestly didn't think Andre Drummond would be getting traded, but here he is for basically nothing.
Yeah, I saw him post something on Twitter or Instagram earlier today, and he said he had no clue this was happening. There was no like the front office never told him about it, and he just said it just shows how the NBA is basically a business and there's no loyalty or love for any of the players. And he said, I spent my heart and soul into the Pistons and I just get traded like that. So that was his reaction on getting traded to Cleveland. And the next trade we have was a big one. It was a total of, it happened Wednesday and Thursday, but it was a total of a 6-team trade. It was between the Hawks, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, and the Wizards. So to start, the Rockets traded away Clint Capella and Nene to the Hawks, and they got Robert Covington, Bruno Caboclo, and 2 second-round picks. The Timberwolves in this trade got forward Evan Turner, Malik Beasley, Juancho Hernan Gomez, Jared Vanderbilt, and a 2020 first-round pick from the Nets. The Nuggets got Gerald Green, Noah Vonleh, Keita Bates Doip, and Jordan McRae.
Base job.
Guard Jordan.
Kid at base job.
Okay.
Jordan McRae, and a 2020 first-round pick from the Rockets. The Grizzlies got forward Jordan Bell, and the Wizards traded for guard Shabazz Napier, who went to the Nuggets, and then the Wizards jumped in and took him away from Denver. So Luke, out of all these teams, who do you like the most out of this trade? The team I like the most out of this trade is definitely Atlanta. I like them getting Clint Capella to pair with Trae Young, even though we just talked about the old school big man in the NBA, which I think Clint Capella would fit under. I think each team should have that one guy who can dominate down low. I don't know if he can dominate, but he's definitely very solid down low, especially with the guy who can shoot like Trae Young up top. The team that makes zero sense to me for is Houston. They have 0 centers. They had Jordan Bell and decided to flip him to Memphis, and he's not a center, but he's a big power forward who could fill that role. I just don't see a reason they need Robert Covington when they already have a ton of guys who play like Robert Covington already. They have no centers. They traded both of their centers. They're gonna be. I mean,
Yeah.
Who's gonna guard Anthony Davis if they have to play him in the playoffs? PJ Tucker. Like it just does it makes 0 sense to me why Houston made this move. The rest of the teams, I don't think it makes much of a difference. They just get a bunch of expiring deals and draft picks. Cool, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Houston, they're gonna have no big men, and I know they were saying they were trying to go all out or go all in for an NBA championship, and this definitely was not the move because now you have no inside game defensively to guard the rim, and you don't have any inside game offensively. So I don't know what the Rockets are going to do and how they're going to fare the rest of the year playing small ball, but I don't think it's going to go well. And the team I think came out of this the best, like you said, were the Hawks. I'm going to like the Trae Young, Clint Capella duo in Atlanta, and plus all the other young players they have around him, like Brandon Clark and Cam Reddish. And so it's just going to be an all-around. I mean, the Hawks aren't going to get 10 this year, but I mean, maybe the next couple of years they're going to be back to where they were a couple of years ago with Clint Capella. But yeah, like I said, the Hawks are the best team out of this trade for sure. So another trade we would like to talk about is between the Miami Heat and the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies traded away Andre Iguodala, and he signed to the Miami Heat for a 2-year, $30 million extension. And they also got forward Jay Crowder and Solomon Hill. And the Grizzlies got Justice Winslow, Dion Waiters, and James Johnson from Miami. So, Luke, what team fares the best out of this trade?
I definitely like Memphis in this. I know a lot of people like Miami getting Andre Iguodala, but I told you earlier that this really does nothing for me. He's 36 years old. Last year he didn't do too much. He averaged about 5.7 points per game on decent shooting, but I just don't see this being a big move for them. But I do like the Grizzlies getting Justice Winslow.
Yeah, he's going to add to already the young core that they have with Jaren Jackson and
And
John Morant
and
and plenty of other Dylan Brooks.
as far as the other guys that Miami's getting in this, I don't like. I mean, Jay Crowder is kind of falling off. If he can get back to what he was doing in Boston a couple years ago, then this could work out. But I mean, he's shooting like 29% from three this year. So
Yeah, I like Memphis in this trade also. I mean, Justice Winslow is just adding on to already the young core that Memphis Grizzlies have, and I think they're going to be very good in years to come. I mean, they're already fighting for a playoff spot this year with Jaren Jackson and John Morant and Dylan Brooks, but this just adds to the team, and I think in the coming years they're not going to be contenders for the West, but they're going to be up there in seeding for sure.
yeah, I
And
think I've already said on here that Memphis is probably my favorite team outside of Milwaukee.
Yep. And the last trade we have for you guys is between the Clippers, the Knicks, and the Wizards. So out of this, the Clippers got forward Marcus Morris and Isaiah Thomas, which the Clippers later dropped him, so he is looking for another team. The Knicks received forward Mo Harkless and a first-round pick, and the Wizards received Jerome Robinson. So Luke, uh, first I want to ask you about Isaiah Thomas. He's had a rough career. Like he's been traded around the league so many times. I just feel bad for the guy because he balled out in Boston, and then he obviously got traded. But like in Boston, he was a complete star, and now he's just getting bounced around the league. So what is your take on Isaiah Thomas being cut by the Clippers and just the rest of the trade in general?
Isaiah's gonna find somewhere. I don't think it's over for him. He's having a decent year this year, but I just don't think he fits with the the defensive scheme. He doesn't fit with many defensive schemes, but especially not in um, the Clippers. I don't know where he'll find a home. Probably some non-contender will pick him up, but that's my take on him. But as far as the rest of this trade, I think this moves the needle very slightly for the Clippers. I don't. Marcus Morris is good, but I don't think guys like that are gonna really take them deep in the playoffs. I mean, I think the Clippers will go deep in the playoffs, but I don't think it'll be much of a difference as if they didn't get him.
Yeah, the Clippers were already a contender to begin with. So, oh, actually, we have one more trade. I'm sorry. So, the last trade we want to talk about, and this is for real, was between the 76ers and the Warriors. And the 76ers got some shooting out of it. They got Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson III, and the Warriors received 3 second-round picks from the 76ers. So, quickly, Lucas, what is your take on the 76ers actually getting some shooting? And what does this do for the Warriors with 3 second-round picks?
Yeah, the 76ers, obviously they needed shooting. I talked about that last show, but then they get two guys, Alec Burks shooting about 37% from three on about 5 attempts, and Glenn Robinson shooting about 40 on 8. I like it for them and the Warriors. They obviously need draft assets, so.
And what do you think about the Warriors and the 3 second-round picks that they're going to get?
Well, I just said they obviously needed draft assets as they're somewhat rebuilding now. Really, they're kind of an interesting team. Obviously, they have two superstars out while they're being the worst team in the league, but never hurts to just gain draft assets.
That
Well,
is
you're
for sure.
struggling.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Warriors are struggling this year, so that kind of helps in getting a rebuild going. So overall, that's all the trades we have for you in the NBA trade deadline 2020. It was a crazy deadline. I think a couple trades were the biggest with the Clint Capella trade and obviously the D'Angelo Russell trade. Those were the two that stood out to me and you, obviously. So it was just a crazy Thursday yesterday in seeing all the trades that Woj was dropping and Shams was also dropping. So it was fun to watch Twitter all day yesterday. So to end our show, we have our daily pick segment. Obviously, we end the show every episode picking some games and having a schedule and picking teams to win. So to start, we have the NBA slate, and our first game is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Philadelphia 76ers, which is going down tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to take the Memphis Grizzlies.
I'm going Philly at home.
All right, next game, we have the Toronto Raptors at the Indiana Pacers. That is happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to take the Raptors. They're riding a 12-game win streak.
I'm going Raptors too.
All right, next game, Trailblazers at the Utah Jazz. I'll take the Jazz at home.
I'm going Jazz as well.
All right, next game, Brooklyn Nets at the Toronto Raptors. That's happening Saturday night, tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take the Raptors at home.
I'm going Raptors.
All right, the Boston Celtics at the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is happening Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will take the Celtics on the road.
Celtics.
All right, Utah Jazz at the Houston Rockets. That's Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll take the Jazz. I think the Rockets are struggling with the small ball.
Taking Utah.
All right, and lastly, with the NBA games this weekend, the Miami Heat at the Portland Trailblazers Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take the Heat on the road.
I know they're struggling on the road, but I'm taking Miami.
All right, and moving along, we got the college basketball slate for the weekend. Number 9 Maryland at number 20 Illinois. Big Ten matchup Friday 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take the Illini at home.
I'll go Maryland.
Number 18 LSU at number 11 Auburn. Saturday 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take Auburn at home.
I'll go LSU.
The big rivalry game, number 16 Michigan State at Michigan. Saturday tomorrow 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take Spartans on the road.
I will also take Michigan State.
All right. Number 12 Seton Hall at number 10 Villanova. Saturday tomorrow 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Villanova is coming off a loss, so I will take Seton Hall and Miles Powell on the road.
I'll take Villanova.
Stanford at number 24 Colorado. That's happening tomorrow 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take Colorado at home.
I'll go Stanford.
Number 19 Butler at Marquette. That's happening Sunday 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I will take the Butler Bulldogs coming off a buzzer beater win against Villanova. I'll take Butler on the road.
I'm going to go with Marquette.
And lastly, to wrap up the show, Wichita State at number 25 Houston. I will take Houston at home.
I'm also going to go Houston. That is all we have for you guys today. Both Jacob and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We release new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube and Spotify at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Follow us on social media to receive up-to-date content from us, and we hope to see you here again on the Sportz Hive podcast.